When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like aloe or Skims, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling and for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. With Shop Pay, that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts are going abandoned and way more sales happening. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell whatever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices. Plus, extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with points. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Hey there, listeners. Welcome to Shit That Goes On to Our Heads, the podcast where we normalize conversations around mental health.
That's right. I'm Dirty Skittles, and alongside my amazing co-host, G-Rex, we are here to share stories and tips from our incredible guests.
Each episode, we deep dive into struggles and triumphs of mental health, offering practical advice and heartfelt support.
Because no one should feel alone in their journey. Join us as we break the stigma and build a community of understanding and compassion.
Tune in and let's start talking about the shit that goes on in our heads. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of Shit That Goes On Our Heads. It's me and my amazing co-host, Dirty Skittles. And today we are doing our Season 9 recap. Woohoo!
Wow. How are we here?
Wow. Yeah, I keep asking myself that. Like, we are 101 episodes in now. We have 1 million downloads. We won a couple of awards. How does that happen?
I don't know. I can still remember us, episode 1, never got aired. Don't even ask us where it is because I don't even think we have it anymore. We said dick a lot of times. I think there was cocktails.
There were cocktails. There were a lot of things, man. And like, to think like next week's episode is so close to our 2-year anniversary.
And 2-year anniversary.
Yeah. Like, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I don't know. I think there's a saying, isn't there, that time flies when you're having fun?
I guess. Are you still having fun?
Yeah, I'm having fun, but it's weird because it's like evolve. And I think it started to change a bit when we started to have guests.
Yeah.
And now it's become something, I feel like about every time we record with a new guest and we get to hear somebody else's story, it's more profound Like it means more.
Yeah, 100%. And I know like this year there's a couple of episodes that you and I are just going to record ourselves of just things that are going on and that people need to know about. And, it's all about growing and learning and things that we've done, right? That are super important.
The shit that goes on in our heads.
Shit in our heads. Like by the time this airs, I'll open my company. Woohoo! Yeah, can't believe that shit happened.
Congrats. We need a soundboard.
And we do need a soundboard. You know what? Let me reach out to our editor. Hey, can we get a soundboard? Like, woohoo! Yeah, drum roll, whatever. But yeah, like this last season was so good. We had so many good guests.
Yeah.
And every one of them, I came back with like, wow, this can affect like my day-to-day life or shit that I was going through at the time.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I feel like the weighted X-ray blanket has come off.
Yeah. I have to tell you, and I don't know if you feel like this too. I felt like this season specifically, this is one I remember feeling this way with. It felt like all the stars were aligning, right? And like we were receiving messages from our guests as they were needed. Like we had so many guests that were literally tapping in. Like it was like a parallel universe almost. Like they're telling their story. And I was like, that's exactly what's happening to me right now.
Right.
Wild.
It was wild. And like I got to take lessons that we learned from this season into like opening my own company, like digging deep into myself and being like, you know what? We're going to roll with it and see what happens. And I've just seen like so much growth in you too as a person and your mindset. And it makes me so happy. Like I missed the smiles. I missed the joy in you. And now I get to see that all over again. And that's kind of like raising a kid. You know what I mean? But like in a good way. I mean, you're not, well, let's see. There's like a 20-year difference. Yeah, you could be my kid, but like I'd be the best mom in the world, so it'd be okay. Be like, yeah, you go sit with your feelings. Have a good day. Let me know when you want to come out of the corner. Yeah, bye.
Sadly, I would still be a terror. I wouldn't be the best kid in the world.
No, you wouldn't. Like you didn't learn your life lessons yet, but it's okay because we're still learning, right? That's part of life is that you learn and you grow and you reinvent yourself. And like, I'm excited for me, but I'm more excited for you because like the world is your oyster and you get to open it up and see what's out there. And I'll never stop saying this. I'm so thankful to be alive. I really am. And I went from the very worst day in my life to this.
Yeah.
And so utterly thankful for you. You are truly my best friend. You're my confidant. You make me laugh at shit I probably should never laugh at.
What she means is I tell her stories about my misfortunes that she finds absolutely hilarious.
I do, because like some of them are fucking ridiculous. But just so fortunate and so utterly thankful for you and just hanging out with me. And you make me a better person every day.
I just had like this weird flashback of when I met you for the first time and you were in the cubicle. I'm like, wow. Never guess we would be literally here in Zoom recording a podcast. What the fuck? What is life?
What the fuck? What is life? What is life? Life is what you make it. And, I think our goal for 2025 is do what brings us joy.
Yeah. I want this to be the year that I do the things that bring me joy.
Even if it's super fucking scary and being super vulnerable.
Yeah.
And going to put ourselves out there. And, there's going to be good days and bad days, but I'm excited because we're doing it for us.
Yeah. So
we're not doing it for anybody else.
What have you learned this season from our guests? Let's start from the beginning. Who was guest number 1 for us?
I'm going to say it's a tie, but guest number 1 for me was Asha, because she helped me recognize that I was fucking burned out.
Yeah.
Right? And that was fucking eye-opening. I'm like, that's what it is. I was burned out. And she helped me to figure out like some next steps I needed to take for myself so that I could go find that joy.
Yeah. That was, like I mentioned, like I felt like this season was like this weird parallel where people were saying things that I was going through in my own personal life. And that was how it started with Asha talking about burnout, and specifically like workplace burnout. And I remember sitting across talking to her and being like, how is this happening right now? And I have this resource, right? Like it's a person who I'm speaking to about the things that I'm going through without necessarily like, you know, me telling them my story. They were telling us their story. And I could relate 100%. Like, I'm like, oh my God, that's me.
Yeah. And I think that conversation helped trigger the things that we both needed for us to work on and find our joy and get back to that mental health place that we were like a couple months prior.
Yeah.
And, you know, sitting with those feelings and then actioning upon them. You know, it took me a couple of months to action upon that, but I'm so much happier.
Yeah.
I'm so much happier.
Yeah. I like to think of like this season as my journey, right? So Asha talked about burnout, advocating for yourself, which I never thought would be as hard as it has been, specifically with workplace. And then it led us to Andrea. And that was very interesting because then I'm like, okay, so now I know what it is that I'm going through, what I need to do, but what next, right? And her talking about, was it EFT?
Yeah, it's EFT tapping, which is amazing.
And I had never heard of it. So then I'm like, oh, so healing could be different.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't have to be, you know, your therapy session sitting across, lying on the couch, talking about your problems. You know what I mean? Like it can look different.
Yeah, it's like EFT, like you can do it sitting at your desk. You don't have to be sitting across from your therapist. It's something I incorporate into my day. And after her session, I started incorporating it more into my day so that when I felt myself getting stressed out, I knew how to kind of circle back outside of that. And, you know, it helped me build up some resilience, right? Like, I got this, but I had to start believing in myself. You know, years and years and years of people like dissing me. And I'm like, you know what? I don't need anybody else's permission to find my joy.
Mm-hmm.
And that made me so happy. And then we went from Andrea, we went to Jaclyn, and just all the crap that she went through. But like,
and how she's turned it into something so beautiful.
Something so beautiful, right? You take the worst shit that's going on in your life, and she turned it into beautiful jewelry and like a beautiful life. And she was so passionate about it and loved being on the show with us. And it made me also think about, you know, my creativity, right? What gets me going? What do I do for my creativity? Well, for me, it's writing. Like I found that passion and now I'm rewriting the last chapter of my book. Mm-hmm. Because I went from super dark to open up a business. Let's just roll with it. But like that is my creativity, right? Is making things that make me feel happy.
Yeah. The ability to be able to turn like pain or something dark and depressing that you're going through into art or something creative, I think is such a talent. And I will say I did get a piece of jewelry from her. It's a ring that I can spin whenever I'm feeling anxious, and I love it. So shout out, get yourself some. It works. Like I literally wear it probably anytime I'm going out, or if I have a trip or something. I've worn that ring and I've spun the shit out of that ring to the point where I'm like, oh my God, is this gonna literally just like wear down into nothing? No, it's beautiful. It looks cool. So yeah, I love that.
And it brings you just so much joy, right?
Peace.
Like peace. It's like it's our own mindfulness, right? Like I can't sit and do mindfulness because I have a little bit of adult onset ADHD. But if I can have something to fidget with, I'm so much better, right? So my desk literally has, I don't know, like 20 fucking toys on it. But it's all stuff to keep my hands busy. So like if I'm on a call, I'll be playing with something in my hands because it helps me focus. Otherwise, I'm like, ooh, a squirrel.
Yeah.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
And then we had Will and recognizing our triggers.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
I have to tell you, I was just upstairs having a little snickety snack before we started recording this. And I put that episode on. I haven't listened to the whole thing, and I'll tell you why. Me being me, can hear it in my voice that I'm getting anxious listening to her and like talking, because it was like tapping into like something very personal for me. Like I'm like, oh God, oh God, oh God. That probably was one of my favorite conversations that I've had, only because I was going through that, like that. Like I was like, this is at the time happening real time as we're speaking about it. And I could hear it in my voice during that recording. Like, I'm like, I don't think anybody else is going to pick up on it, but bro, the shit was deep.
Bro, it was deep. and for me, like recognizing my triggers, right? So like when all the stuff went down in November, and this time I actually spoke up about what was going on instead of hiding away from everybody. And I'm happy that I was able to recognize that trigger.
Yeah.
And you know,
and not hide it, not hide your emotions.
And, you know, healing takes forever. You know, there's no easy button.
That's exactly the thing. It's like I remember talking about like, oh yeah, I went to therapy and I dealt with what. So I don't know if everybody's like this, but like you think you know what your problem is. Like, I don't know my problem. And then you believe you've addressed it. But knowing your triggers, it doesn't mean they're the same all the time. Right? Like, because life is different. Every day is a little bit different. And situations are going to be different. Yeah. You're going to have different triggers. And like you being able to speak about it when something is happening, that's huge. That's like powerful. So
yeah. And like kudos to you too, right? Because you've done so much self-work the last couple of months. I'm really
you definitely
have.
Yeah, you know a lot more than what's on these episodes. But yeah, look, we're all humans, man.
Yeah, we dig deep. We try and figure out what we can and cannot change, and the shit we can't change. You know, we work on different mechanisms to make it so that it's not paralyzing.
Yep, exactly.
Then we had Krista.
Yeah. Woo.
Okay. Oh my God. Wow.
The betrayal of it all. That was my note.
Yeah.
Betrayal.
It was betrayal.
Wow. And then having to pick up the pieces.
Yeah.
Putting 100% of yourself into something for it to just be not what you thought it was.
Right.
And to be crushed and heartbroken. I think I have a note. She was in that relationship for like 9 years or something.
Yeah.
Man.
But, like with her, gut feelings, right? We all get them. And on 99% of the time, they're right.
Yeah.
Right? Like go with your gut. Don't ever go with your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Go with what your gut's telling you. Like if it's not right, it is not right.
I know.
And giving yourself permission to love yourself after going through something like that, it's so hard, but she came out of it on top. Yeah. And like she's the happiest she's ever been now. And
she kept moving. She kept moving forward. She didn't let it cripple her down. Yeah.
And she's out there helping other moms with resources through her own podcast, and so authentic and genuine. And just the way she told her story, I was mad at her ex-husband for being a dick.
Normally we're like, fuck this, fuck that.
fuck him.
Yeah.
But like she dug deep and like crawled out of that. I'm so thankful she had her parents and her circle to help her get through that. And it just reminds me of like the resilience that people have when they're in their deepest, darkest time.
Yeah. Finding your support system.
100%. And then we had Karen, and her story made me cry, but in a good way, because her love for her daughter.
Yeah, love. Mm-hmm.
Man, it made me think. Like my mom was amazing. She was an amazing mom, and she would have done anything for her kids, just to make sure that we were safe and taken care of and loved.
Yeah. And security, like hearing her story and the way she would drop whatever was going on to be there for her daughter. It reminded me of like, I was trying to put myself in her daughter's shoes when you're going through something so difficult and it's so dark, and you know that you have a parent who loves you. You may not be able to be in that mindset yet to accept the love, but knowing that if you needed them, they are there. I think not everybody has that. And so to hear her story of being the parent that the unconditional love and will be there it was beautiful.
It was beautiful. And I'm thankful she had her faith to help carry her through that. Not everybody has like a God or a person that they believe in. For me, I'm a recovering Catholic, but I have those glimmers. I do talk to somebody, like my spirit, my little spirit animal.
Yeah.
And that's that spirit that kept me alive, because when I made that call, there was that glimmer of hope that everything was going to turn out okay. And those conversations I had in my head, and just finding that love. Thankfully, my wife was amazing during that period of time. So, still is.
I think if it's not faith, right? Like, 'cause everybody's different. I think what is important is having something to believe in, even if that is believing in yourself. We all shouldn't do that anyways, but having something there when like nothing else is, I think is huge. And as you were talking about that, I was thinking, wow, how interesting it would be to think, she's finding her strength in her faith and her daughter is finding her strength in her mom.
Yep.
That's cool.
It's super cool. And then we had Pez. I love Pez.
We love Pez. Pez has a little place in our heart. We text all the time.
We do. But like she went through some shit, and she was so vulnerable, and, to her, family is everything. And, allowed herself to be like critical of her growth, but she sat with it. And she made me think about the safe spaces I have in my life.
Yeah.
And memories that brought me joy.
Yeah.
And it put a smile on my face because I'm really fortunate.
Yeah. And I think that's great that you can see that, like that you're able to be grateful and show gratitude for what you have and like recognize that you have that, especially considering, where you were.
Yeah. All the shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. We call it all the shit.
All the shit. I was thinking of Pez. I didn't text. I don't know why I didn't text her this. In that episode, she was talking about, I think, and I hope I don't get this wrong, where her grandfather said some people need chapstick and some people need a glue stick. And I remember hearing that and thinking like just her love for her family and that safe space, right? So you said that then. I recently was at a family function that, ma'am, I'm going to be honest with you, I almost bailed on it. I was going to stay home. In the deep pits of dark depression, didn't want to go anywhere. But I went to this family function and I was amongst my people, my safe space. And sometimes, I think you can get really down on yourself and be your biggest critic. And especially when you're going through a tough time and think like, I'm too loud or I talk too much or I don't know, you get negative thoughts about yourself. And so I'm sitting at this family function and I remember looking around the table and seeing my family, who I feel very safe with, my mom's side of the family, and realizing we are family. Like we are acting the same way. We're just as loud as each other. We are almost one-upping each other in like sarcastic humor and dancing and singing. And I was like, oh. And I thought of Pez in that moment of like, oh, you have this safe space with family you love, and how tough that must have been to mourn that loss of it all. So,
and just crawling out of that, right? And remembering the good things and the memories. And, when I think of my mom, that's what I hold on to, right? I hold on to those memories. And, I pray every day that, she's watching down on us and guiding us, and happy that, I'm doing the thing that brings me joy.
Yeah.
So that makes me happy. And then we had Kathy, and Kathy literally like sealed the deal for me. 100%. Like what she's doing with promoting mental health in the workplace
training
is huge. Like more than ever, we need that. Mm-hmm. And it made me reflect on to like things that had gone on in November and how workplaces could have done better to manage people's mental health. And with my new business, that's something I'm going to focus on. I have 45 years of lived and worked experience. And I can tell you that every single time companies don't do it right. And then they wonder why people with Asperger's or ADHD or some sort of mental health illness, why they check out, why they leave, right? Because they forget to look at the person and the people, and they're more focused on the money and the business side.
Yeah, there's something to be said for, companies seeking out that training, right? Like the fact that she is able to provide that insight and that perspective to organizations is great. I do sometimes wonder, like, where does it go wrong for some organizations? And it feels like, I get it. You're a company, you need money to be a company and to succeed. But I think from an employee level, when you get all the way down to that level, we're human beings and you're breaking people to make money. There's got to be a balance.
And there's got to be a balance. And like, sometimes they just don't care. And so like taking that training, not only to the C-suite, but trickling that down to the managers, the people that are on the floor, huge change maker, right? And I love that they have this thing in Australia called Are You Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And they make a big deal out of it in Australia. Like, we need to do that same thing here in the US, probably in other parts of the world too. But they are giving these companies some awareness of like things to look out for. And like I said, this whole season, wow, it really struck a chord with me because we were both going through some shit, trying to figure out what our next steps were, and coming out to this and realizing some of those dreams and those hopes and those joys. I am telling you, 2025 is the year we take our power back as individuals and as friends and as a podcast and everything.
Yeah. And as a sneak peek for our listeners, we're two episodes into 2025 that we recorded.
Yep.
And it definitely, like, this last season of the stars aligning and topics being discussed as they're happening in real life, that theme is continuing on so far with some of the changes that are happening in our personal lives and ventures that we're, doing as individuals. Like, I think it's interesting to hear that. I do believe what you just said, that 2025 is the year where we take our power back.
We do. And the podcast isn't going anywhere.
No.
We are physically booked with guests until the end of August
Summertime
of this year.
I almost started singing, but I held back. I was going to sing
Please don't.
Summertime.
Please, no, please don't. Do not sing. No, we stopped that. Oh my God. No, girl. No. Oh my God.
If you get up and start dancing, y'all, just FYI.
You are, but I still love you. I still love you. But we are interested in hearing from you guys. And, if you read the podcast or the show notes or the newsletter, we have an avenue for you guys to leave comments about the show.
Yeah,
what are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? Like, let us know who you want to hear from. We have a bunch of exciting, really amazing guests for 2025. And like, I'm excited. I'm super excited for this year. I'm super excited for Dirty Skittles kind of getting out of her own comfort zone, because I'm definitely getting in my own comfort zone. But thank you all for, just tuning in and listening to us. And we still have our social media platforms. We have LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. We had to take the TikTok page down because, we all know what happened there. We all know what happened there. But we also have our Discord channel. And I'm going to start putting that in our show notes. And if you guys want to engage there, please engage with me on Discord. We're going to have a lot more information about our guests there, some giveaways, things like that. And, just a huge shout out to the two people that have been helping us with our social media and our website. They asked to remain nameless, so y'all know who you are. I appreciate everything you do. Y'all make us look smart. And I'm super excited. Thank you guys for everything.
Thank you all.
Hi, all. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I'm G-Rex.
And I'm Dirty Skittles.
Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. We'd love to listen to your feedback.
We can't do this without you guys.
It's okay to be not okay. Just make sure you're talking to someone.